Hello, friends. September 2nd, 9 o'clock p.m. It is officially September. Hockey is almost here. Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And we are officially here, guys. It is the month for hockey to begin. It is September. Hope you all had a good end of the summer, Labor Day weekend, yada, yada, barbecues and all that fun stuff. We're here. We are a week away, a couple hours away from training camp for rookies. They report on the 10th and then veterans on the 17th the following week. And what do we have to talk about here? The same topic that we have been talking about all summer long, my friends, and that is that Luke Hughes still does not have a contract. Now, where do I even begin? Cheers to all you guys. Get a nice little end of the summer beverage in here with some of you guys. We're going with the surf side. This has been my tried and true all summer long, all flavors and varieties. Go down like water. Absolutely delicious. Surf side, this is the iced tea and vodka. I've been putting these down all summer long, but cheers to all of you. And let me just, the sound. What was I saying? Our boy Luke still without a contract. I'm still in shambles in the studio. I will eventually get this thing done before the season. I'm just still torn a little bit as to the finishing touches, if you will. A lot of different directions. I've been forced to kind of review a bunch of stuff as I look for pieces to throw up in here. And there's just a lot of stuff, a lot of good Devils memories encapsulated in different forms of memorabilia. But Luke's still without a contract. A lot of people obviously feeling uneasy about that. Then Novo puts out the report the other day that Camp Luke was looking for a 5-year deal to coincide with Jack's free agency so that they could potentially, go somewhere together or not. Very uneasy kind of report to see from Novo. And a lot of people were talking smack like, oh, he's made this up. I don't believe for one second that he made it up. I do believe he didn't go into detail per se as to where he got that from, but I don't think he's in the business of fabricating stories. And so for the people that said that, I'm not really sure why, but there definitely seems to be credence to it. And like I said in a previous video, if you're Luke Hughes, why would you not want to have your free agency line up with your brothers? I mean, it makes sense. If you have the ability to pull that off, that's an amazing luxury to have. To be able to maneuver with your brother somewhere in the same summer is a great thing. I can't blame him for it. I do believe a lot of it stems from where the Devils are right now and kind of what we've seen for the past couple of years. There's been no real push to win now. I've talked about this forever. Some people, wherever you fall on the spectrum of all of this, but in season, there's been no real push to win now or nothing that signifies that. Now people come with the injury stuff in the background and Jack was hurt and this guy was hurt and yada, yada. In the end, there's always going to be some sort of justification for not making in-season moves for any team. Where I'm at with that. It should be 100% win now every single year. I do love the core. I love the nucleus. Markey's a win now goalie, yada, yada. Got to try to win now. And I think, the Hughes brothers probably are wondering, can we win a cup here? Is this the place for it to happen? Having them both become free agents in 5 years, I've said, I think is completely nuts for the obvious reasons. You're completely at their mercy at that point. I do think it would be a total maniacal move by Fitz to allow that to happen. Now, would Luke sit out over that sticking point? I mean, it seems excessive. I just don't like it. There's a lot of people saying that, oh, it's no big deal. I don't know on what planet having them both be free agents in the same summer not be a massive deal. That is a massive, massive deal. You absolutely cannot have that happen. But if somehow Fitz was to cave in to do it, then you really need to be all in. I mean, it'd be crazy if it happened. But at this point, nothing would surprise me. If he gets a 5-year deal, I mean, my God. You got to be all in every single year to win it and just look at it as we have the Hughes brothers for maybe 5 more years max. Time to win now. But then I think yesterday another article comes out from RG. I don't know that I've ever heard of this news outlet, but this article comes out from James Murphy Devils GM on Luke Hughes contract. Eventually, this will get done. So I believe it was July 2nd was the last Fitz press conference where he said that signing Luke was his number one priority. It has now been officially downgraded to and eventually this will get done. And then I love the key takeaways, the little bulleted points at the top of the article here. New Jersey Devils GM Tom Fitzgerald vowed that the Luke Hughes contract extension will eventually get done. The star defenseman remains a restricted free agent with training camp right around the corner. And then bullet point number 3, Fitzgerald also gave his thoughts on the new CBA and rising salary cap. The article goes on, with training camp just over 2 weeks away, New Jersey Devils general manager Tom Fitzgerald is still trying to lock up restricted free agent defenseman Luke Hughes. In a recent one-on-one interview with RG, Fitzgerald gave an update on the contract negotiations with Hughes, and his agent Pat Preseason discussed navigating through the rising salary cap and approaching CBA extension and what his team needs to do better this coming season. Hughes and Devils hoping to avoid another Mercer situation. On the latest update with Luke Hughes contract talks, the quote is, "We'll just continue to talk and present each other with ideas," Fitzgerald replied. What? Continue to talk and present each other? When you hear this stuff, it's like, come on, I mean, how many different ideas can you have? Either a bridge deal, which I think is also crazy, the long-term deal, or this dream scenario that for Luke Hughes of the 5-year deal, which should never happen. I even think a bridge deal would be crazy. I would tell Luke, you're signing for 8 years. I mean, that's it. That's it. You're signing for 8 years. Anything. I mean, so there was a report of they're maybe going to look at 7 years, like a couple weeks ago. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that, but 7 or 8 years needs to be the goal. And anything less, I think, is a failure. Doing the bridge deal, I think, is a crazy gamble too. But yeah, they're going to continue to talk and present each other with ideas. Okay. And then eventually this will get done. The 11th hour is training camp, right? A lot of times, a lot of the stuff doesn't get done until the 11th hour. We're hoping we can get something done here in quick fashion, and both sides are working hard at it. That's for sure. Oh, man, this certainly seems like some sort of hardball tactics on both sides, whether it's about money, the term, whatever it is. It seems like each party's waiting for the other one to blink. This is the high-stakes game of chicken, if you will, as we are about to be 2 weeks away from training camp. I mean, it's crazy. Who's going to blink first? I would love to be a fly on the wall. Would absolutely love to be a fly on the wall for some of these things, just to hear what's going on and where each side is at. But I'm hoping it lands on a Luke Hughes 8-year deal for like $8.5 million a year. Would be absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So that's the end of the Fitz quote on that part. And then it goes to say, how much does Dawson Mercer's contract hold out last year? And what happened with Jeremy Swayman and the Bruins weigh on the mind of the Hughes camp and the team? A holdout is the absolute worst case. Fitz says, it does weigh on us, and I'm sure Hughes and Pat Preseason, who is their agent, too, Fitzgerald acknowledged. At the end of the day, when really the only leverage the player has at this point in their career is holding out, that stinks. I don't think anyone wins, quite honestly, when that happens. So Pat and I are trying hard to get this thing to come to some common ground. Then they have the notation there. It should be noted that after this was written, a report from NJ.com Devils beat reporter Ryan Novozinski stated that Hughes is looking for a 5-year contract that would allow him to hit free agency in 2030, the same time his brother and teammate Jack does. Cannot happen. Navigating through a rising salary cap and the new CBA. How is the rising salary cap and new CBA extension affecting contract talks with Hughes and others going forward? Are you worried that some agents will force their clients to push for less term and more money so they don't get locked in at a number now that could be a steal later? Again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The article came out for the best value contracts in the NHL, and Jack Hughes was he may have been number one on the list. I can't even remember. But and then people were talking about how agents hate and players alike hate to see their name or their client's name on these lists, because it's like, oh yeah, look at this deal you signed that's such a great value for the team. No agent wants to be on that list. No player wants to be on that list. And people even speculated at the time when the list came out, like this is all just kind of fuel, if you will, and feeding the flames for negotiations for guys, because no one wants to be on those lists. I lost my spot here. Oh, they're talking about okay, yeah. Well, I'm sure that's the case, but as a team, you can't ignore the present. Fitzgerald pointed out the future is laid out for us via the league and what the cap is going to be. And again, you're just trying to find some common ground today that may work down the road for both parties too, but you need to live in the present, and this is no different. They're just looking out for Luke's best interest, but the reality is you still have to stay in the present time and look at, in my opinion, the comps that are there. Ooh, this looks like, the posturing in the media, if you will. It seems like Hughes camp wants more money than Fitz wants to pay. I'm so curious what the numbers are. The next bullet point here, are fans and media forgetting that regardless of the rising salary cap, most teams will have an internal cap? We've talked about this on the program. Absolutely, Fitzgerald replied. Not every team is built the same way. There's only one Montreal Canadiens and New York Rangers and Toronto, and then everyone else tries to make money differently. Not every team has the same automatic revenue, and unless they can figure out creative ways to overcome that in other areas than just the game, they're going to have internal caps. I do believe, for the criticisms that I've had of the ownership group, I do believe they are willing to spend to the salary cap or very close to it. My issue is not using the LTIR money, but it certainly seems like, at least for now, the Devils will be a cap team, and I'd imagine in the foreseeable future. But the real, separation, in my opinion, from ownership groups truly trying to win and then people just talking about trying to win is, will you spend all of the LTIR money when you have it available? And the Devils have had it available for the last 2 years and barely did anything with it. So, that's something that players, I think, alike look at, and they know what teams that have won have done. They've all exploited that loophole. And I believe this is the last year that the loophole exists. And then you have to be cap compliant in the playoffs. But Vegas, Tampa, Florida have all used the LTIR loophole to go way over the cap, have a juggernaut team in the playoffs, and then ultimately win a cup using this tactic. And it's wild that the Devils did not at least try to use some of the money to exploit this loophole while it was still there. But hopefully the internal cap for the Devils is nothing less than the cap, the max. How much is this new landscape affecting the NHL trade market? I think the rising cap has affected the market because it has become more of a buyer's market, Fitzgerald pointed out. The problem is that with more teams having the space, there are fewer sellers. Time for the Devils to go inside. This is the end of the article here. If and when Hughes signs and you go into the season with your current blue line, what do you like about it? I love our blue line, guys. I've said it time and time again. Love the blue line. Love the goaltending. Fitz says, well, I like the size. I like the hardness. I think we play the right way. Fitzgerald said, we box out in the corners. We're harder at the net front, and we can move pucks up the ice. What can we prove on defensively? Can we close gaps earlier? Can we eliminate rush chances by closing the gap? Can we be tight in the offensive zone to create those gaps? More stingy, I guess. Play more stingy and harder from a rush standpoint. Okay, but, our blue line, one of our strengths last season, after it was completely just disastrous in 23-24, along with completely disastrous goaltending, resulting in one of the most disappointing seasons in my Devils fandom career, actually, in the 30 years. Obviously not quite to the same extent, but one of the most painful regular seasons, in my opinion, in my Devils fan career was in 95-96, the year after winning the Cup. The Devils failed to make the playoffs the following season, and it came down to the last game of the year, which was at Continental Airlines Arena against the Ottawa Senators. And if the Devils won, they were in, and they lost. Former New Jersey Devil and Cup champ from the year before, Tom Fitzgerald, had 2 goals in that one, I believe. But that 95-96 season is a brutal one for me. Missed the playoffs after winning the Cup. And then, obviously, again, not the same, but missing the playoffs in 23-24 after setting a franchise record with 112 points the season before and beating the Rangers in that beautiful 7-game series, to then miss the playoffs. Disastrous. But I love our blue line. Seems like Fitz does too. And then they go on to ask, how do you feel about the size and grit up front, and how can this forward group improve? Oh, baby. We talking grit? You got my attention. We're talking grit. Let's go. We've been talking about grit on this very channel for a very long time. Fitz, when you talk about hardness and whatever, to me, it's simple. Do you get to the inside ice? Fitzgerald asked. That's the hard ice. Can you get there? Do you want to get there where production happens? So I think we've grown a lot in that area. I mean, you look at Jesper Bratt himself, the amount of points he had in hits. I don't know if I guess there might have been one other guy who had those types of numbers and hits. So his game has grown, gets the inside. He's willing to finish his checks, create turnovers. And I think we've grown a lot in that area. I really do. I think maturity comes along with that. The more you mature, the more you realize how this game is actually played and what is winning hockey versus kids hockey. These are some of the best Fitz quotes I've seen in quite some time. It's a man's league, he says. I repeat that for those in the back and the people on different platforms and the recesses of the internet who think they know better and want to browbeat people for their opinions and all these things. And this guy has this many whatever on my accelerated charts and all these things, and want to discredit just hard-nosed hockey. It's a man's league. It's a man's league, and you've got to be manly to win. It's a man's league, and you've got to be manly to win. And you've got to get to those areas of the ice that are hard. And with that being said, it is hard. They are hard areas. But this isn't the 1980s and 90s anymore, or the 70s. It's not that hard to do, which is true. The way the game has changed, with the way they call interference and obstruction, all these things, it is much easier. Back when Dano was playing in the Dano days, guys were getting murdered trying to get to the gritty areas. Nowadays, they call a lot. You have a lot more kind of freedom as a skill guy to do your thing out there because they call it way tighter than they used to. But I like where our growth and our understanding of where the game is, where you win games from, and where you lose them from. It's the same at both ends. Be harder at our net front. Be harder at their net front. All right, Fitz. Okay, I think that kind of serves. It could be a bit of a kind of motivating thing. I don't know if any guys on the team are going to end up seeing that or reading that, but I took it as like that's a challenge and kind of calling guys out. Are you gonna play this type of game? Are you gonna go to the dirty areas? Are you gonna take your punishment for your points? He complimented Bratter. Obviously, you guys know I love Bratter. The shift of the year was that sequence against the Blackhawks where Bratter just smashed a guy, and then that whole long change and everything led to a goal. But you like to see those quotes from Fitz, and it's just like, okay, so if you're saying all these things, that's, I guess, the most frustrating part for me is like you're saying that, but then what are you doing to morph the team into that? But it's like I said, it seemed more like a kind of an open challenge to the guys on the team. But it seems like he understands what a lot of us have said for a long time. Obviously, he was a former player in that league, and he saw how games and cups were won. So, he understands, obviously. Now, can we bring in some guys with that script that could help this team do that? I would love to see it. But those I thought were very encouraging quotes from Fitz. Now, the whole Luke Hughes thing, I think it's going to be a debacle, and I feel bad for Fitz. It's a terrible situation to be in, but they honestly should have tried to take care of this a long time ago. Bobby, thank you for the super, sir. What's up, Ace? How's your evening going? Listen, I get where you're coming from. I do, but I think this team has made steps to get better. I'm going to hold my tongue until March when we see what Fitz does at the deadline. Thank you very much, Bobby. Much appreciated. I'm not trying to kill the guy. I mean, listen, it is what it is. I do think I said it several times. The offseason that he had after the 23-24 season where he missed the playoffs was a great offseason. Great offseason last offseason, getting Markey and robbing Kovacevic. He gets Cotter, Nason, Dylan, Pesci. I mean, that was a great offseason. But in the end, it's like you fixed a bunch of problems you created and got us to a good starting point for last season. And I gave him his props millions of times. I've lost count how many times I sung Fitz's praises for that offseason. But at the time, I also said, while I'm happy for this offseason, the true report card, the true grade is going to come out during the season, whether it's early in the season, at the deadline, whatever it is. When we see this team play X amount of games and we kind of see what the weaknesses are and what needs to be improved, what does he do then to fix it? Because in 23-24, everyone on the whole planet knew that the Devils desperately needed goaltending. And we did nothing all year and then get Kakinen and Allen on deadline day when it was way too late. And it was a season squandered, a precious season of a promising core. A year of their careers just burned off the old clock. Unfortunate. Killed me. Absolutely killed me. I was furious about it. I'll never get over it. I mean, that was a season where, do I think they would have won the cup again? No. But is that experience super valuable for them as a group to go through the war and kind of see what it's about? Absolutely. I think that was a huge opportunity missed, and it was a major step back, in my opinion, to not make the playoffs after a record-setting season. And when you get to the second round, you can't miss the playoffs the next year. And then obviously this past season was just like, yeah, we whimpered in and we got dusted. But new season, health is going to play a part. Now I'm going to try to get to some of your comments here. But thank you, Bobby. Pyro, what's going on? I'm fairly excited about Gritsuk, a little bit of a wild card. He's one of the biggest wild cards heading into the season. And I'm gonna have a whole video about him and a bunch of other stuff in the next couple of weeks. There's going to be videos coming out a lot more regularly now that we're in September and camp is around the corner. But I haven't been this excited for a preseason in a while because I'm very curious to see what several guys are going to do to try to steal someone's spot. I think there's going to be some real battles in camp. Ryan says it's definitely high stakes allowing Jack and Luke to expire at the same time. I just think it'd be crazy. I mean, to have two of your better players potentially leave in the same summer. I mean, listen, if they didn't re-sign when they were eligible the year before, if they they didn't re-sign then and there, then they would obviously be traded during the season. Yeah, that'd be interesting if Fitz just allowed it, gave him the deal. Yeah, I guess then they could potentially be separated. You know, one of them could be traded somewhere, one could be traded the other, but then they would still be free agents a couple months later after that summer. So Traveling, what's up? Traveling Devil 76 says all three end up on the rags in 5 years. That would certainly be disgusting. To see them all on the Rangers would be, man, that would be the worst. That would have to be the worst defection to the Rangers in Devils history. I'm not even sure who I would say it is at the moment. I mean, Gomer's got to be up there, I guess. Holik would have to be considered in there, but that'd be, yeah, and it'd be two players. The Hughes, man, that's Lewis. Don't even say that. What's up, Stick Figs? More like Fitzy is snoozing into September, maybe a little bit, but they're presenting ideas per that article. Pro Bolt Forever says Fitz needs to be fired and replaced with Brodeur. We'll see. This is a big, I think, kind of moment in the Fitzgerald administration. How does this get handled? Because there is clear ripple effects to the Luke contract. Obviously, Jack is a huge element. The potential Quinn Hughes thing kind of looming in the background. I've talked about Nico before. You know, he's got 2 years left. Where's his head at? It's all very interesting. Michael says, I'm sorry. Jack seems to absolutely hate the Rangers. When Ranger fans cheering that the Devils took Jack, they could draft Capo. Yeah, I mean, that clip is hilarious. They the Devils played it after Jack scored a goal against the Rangers last season. But, that means nothing when it comes down to the business. Scott Gomez and Bobby Holik hated the Rangers once upon a time, too. And then unrestricted free agency opened up. They got offered millions and millions of dollars. They signed that contract up and Broadway Blue Shirts, baby. So, Bobby Brightside, how you been? David, what's up? Other than the LTIR thing, very, very, very few owners don't spend to the cap. Exceptions are rebuilds in Buffalo. It's weird that so many teams are below the cap right now. This is a first. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't get, excited for being a cap team. Like, if you're in any sort of real market, you have to spend to the cap. Like, otherwise, it's just a joke. You're not even pretending to try to win if you don't spend to the cap. I'm just trying to skim these. What's going on, Zach? He says, I might have chosen the wrong season for the 14-game partial plan, y'all. Zach, do you have the games like equally spread out throughout the season? Maybe you should have front loaded them just in case if you're worried. I think we're going to be a good team, though. I really do. Obviously, I have a lot of hopes, wishes for additions and stuff, but I hate to be that guy, but health is huge now. Did I still want to see Fitz go get players? Absolutely. Am I happy with our offseason? Absolutely not. And you all know that. But I still have reasons to create this fantasy in my head, if you will, justifiably so, a justifiable fantasy as to why this team could be good. And there are some legitimate reasons to believe it, What's going on? Husky, 9 days to the prospect challenge against Columbus. Let's go. Trying to catch up here. Dubs is like, I've been saying it again and again, we need men. Yeah, Fitzy called it out in the article that I just shared there in the quotes. Let me drop the I'll put this in the description of the video as well, but I meant to do this before. I just put the link to the whole article, which I basically went through, but I just put it in the chat. He said it himself. This is a man's league, and that's it. You got to get to the dirty areas, and you got to do what it takes to win. It's not a secret. It's nothing new. This has been around for quite some time. I'm just skimming. Man, Bobby, I was playing a pickup game and took a slap shot to the face, lost a couple of chiclets and broke my jaw. Oh, my God, man. I hope you get better. That's insane. Michael says, Ace, I think you got the new T-shirt right there. What was that in reference to? I'm 8 minutes behind here. Pyro, dislike Fitz so much that I'd even be disgusted if he said he traded for Brady Tkachuk for a second and Mercer. Well, you could stay mad, my man. If he got Brady Tkachuk for a second and Mercer, I would say, job well done, my friend. That would be the understatement of the century. Stick figs, Fitz is all talk for me right now. My goodwill is drying up with this guy. I'll believe it when I see it. Well, welcome to the club. Traveling Devil 76 says, same. Khalil, can't watch the Devils for like 5 seasons because my mom can't afford cable. Khalil, there's definitely ways. I'm not going to say too much here, but there is ways you could find the games if you catch my drift. Michael S., it's a man's league. You've got to be manly to win. Yeah. Well, listen, you could say it all you want. Talk the talk, but can the team walk the walk? And when we were heavier, edgier, more violent through December, the team was good. They played good. When we were involved, engaged, smacking people around, little scrums, dropping the mitts, they were a good team, amongst the best in the league in December. And then obviously, as we all know, that dreaded holiday break came, and whatever happened during that holiday break, we will never know. And everything went to hell. One of the worst teams in the league in the new year, in 2025 calendar year. Awful. And it is what it is. We limped into the playoffs and got smacked. Hell, the 7 C's. SJ says, will Luke hold out? I certainly hope not. Jay Snow, I'm not giving Fitz any props. His drafts suck. He overcompensates all the time and he refuses to make any in-season adjustments. Well, that's kind of my biggest gripe with him, is the lack of in-season moves. And again, you all know I was furious on deadline day. Sprong and Glass, I felt insulted, cheated, all of those things. And yeah, that was just an underwhelming deadline day. Fitz has yet to really, outside of the Timo deal a few years back, nothing has really happened in season. Bobby, and thank you for the live stream. Currently in the hospital recovering from surgery. Took slap shots to the face in pickup game. Oh my God. Yeah, I think I read this before. Yeah, hope you feel better, man. That's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Are you on the liquid food diet? You getting mashed potatoes and stuff? Jay Snow, we haven't taken a single step since 22-23. Nico and Brat are going on 600 games played. We're not this young team anymore. Timo's going to be 29. Oh, Jay Snow, you are preaching to the choir, my man. I've been saying it for years. We're not this team full of teenagers. Careers go by quick. They really do. But in the blink of an eye, you're like, damn, that guy's 28. This guy's 26. It happens fast. So refreshing. Surfside, guys. Tonight's episode sponsored by Surfside. Iced tea and vodka at your nearest liquor store retailer. We're not a young team. Yasuo Phoenix Fitz as a sucker if he signs Luke to a 5-year deal. Yeah, but I mean, I wonder if he would hold out over it. Like I said, we have no way to know. The 5-year deal would be crazy, I think. I really do. Jeter Toker, Woodson called it. Window opens in 2030. Yeah, no, the window has been open. For those that don't agree or whatever, the window has been open. It's time, as my boy Steve the Maniac said, to snatch the winning by the throat. It's right there. Zach says if Fitz gives into the 5-year deal, we're gonna have to rename the hotel room chair the Fitz chair. Talk is cheap. Knowles, not sure if this was spoke of yet, but what's all the hype with the NHL giving the NJ Devils the most national TV exposure for games this season in anticipation of a Quinn trade? How true is it? Not true at all. The Devils had I think it was 13 games. They had the same amount last year. The Devils have exciting young players. They have some international guys, and the Hughes brothers are a big deal, very marketable, and so that has to more to do with it than anything else. I don't think it has anything to do with the Quinn trade. And two Hughes brothers is more than enough of a storyline with some of the other interests for a broader audience. The Devils have been in the top 4 or so teams per Vegas odds to win the cup heading into the season. So the public believes in the Devils. At least the gambling public does, enough to make them like fourth or so most favored team to win the cup for the past couple of years, which is kind of crazy to me. I would like to put some money on them to win the cup, but the odds should be much better than they are. Oh, there's Woodson. If we can get rid of both Hughes brothers in 2030, we'll be immediate cup contenders. Oh, boy. Stick Figs, my worst affection to the Rangers is Mike Rupp. Only Stanley Cup ring is with the Devils. And in 2012, he gives a shot to Marty. Yeah, that's a great one. Did he leave in free agency, though? It wasn't. Yeah, he didn't go directly Devils to the Rangers. I mean, I hate seeing any of our former guys, especially a guy like him, play for the Rangers, but he didn't go direct. Woodson says he's excited. Michael S. is not just Jack and Luke, Timo and Brat expire that year as well. Yeah, I believe they would. Well, I guess this is all kind of dominoes, right? Who knows? The Hughes brothers thing and Nico could all play a part in all of this. But that'd be interesting. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that, to mention that. Yeah, your whole team would be a free agent at the same time. And again, in that scenario, a lot of guys will re-sign the year before, but there's a lot of uncertainty swirling around with all this stuff. David says, call to me for next GM, legendary devil and agent, all about winning. Oh, man, I think Claude would be a great GM. And I'm kind of upset that Billy G got away, a general manager of the Wild and Team USA. Billy G having quite the front office career, post-playing career. Always loved Bill Guerin. Jason, the fact Plot's going to be playing in the top 6 is awesome. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe someone's going to take that spot. Maybe it'll be Gritsuk. Maybe he will be the top 6 ad out of nowhere. Michael says, hit the like, everyone. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. Woodson, Nemitz bulking up in the offseason while Luke not seeing the gym one side bet. This has been talked about on different things as well, platforms and stuff. I'm not going to, kill guys for not putting up, workout photos and stuff. Like, I think that's very elementary to think that they're not doing it if the photos don't exist. But with that being said, I said this previously, I certainly enjoy the photos when they're like of a guy like Nemitz looking like he's morphing into the Incredible Hulk. I mean, phenomenal. Would love to see photos like that. Now, I also said in a previous video talking about this topic, photos online or not, we will see, at some point in training camp, preseason, regular season, who put in that offseason work and who didn't, because it will be evident. You will know. So regardless of the photos existing or not, and I'm not going to kill guys for not putting up the photos. I'm sure there's tons of guys doing crazy workouts and there's no camera crew there. It's not for the cameras, but you're going to see them when they come to camp. Brendan, here's the thing with this offseason. Do I like the moves Fitz made? Yeah, I actually do like most of them. My issue isn't what he did, it's what he didn't. Couldn't move out any money, still no Luke. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is what it is. No big splashes. The bottom 6 is marginally improved. We're still waiting on the Luke deal. Justin says smash the like button. Thank you, Justin. And unfortunately, that's kind of what I predicted from months ago. I said, I think we're just going to see a bottom 6 retooling and the Luke extension. It's certainly looking like that's what it's going to be. Jeter says his team has a lot to prove in April and May. Yeah, absolutely. Jason, now how much weight did Jack gain this offseason? Probably not much. Ryan says, imagine having Fitzy joining the show for an interview. No, I cannot imagine that. Zach, all jokes aside, I'm itching for a hockey season. Give me crisp air, Reds, pretzels, and a prolongated shoot on a power play. Yeah, I'm excited. I always am sad at the end of summer. But I have hockey season to console me. Pyro says, man, deadline day was probably the darkest day we've had in the chat. I got my regrets. Think we all do. Yeah, it was a very frustrating day. I'm trying to catch up here. All right, I got you, Michael. That should be the shirt. It's a man's league. You've got to be manly to win. NJ Devils. It's really Fitzy. It's a Tom Fitzgerald quote. I wish it was at least like a phone call that we could listen to it. I'm obviously a audio visual kind of guy as opposed to reading, but it just came out on that RG site. Link in the chat. Collect records. Feeling positive about Gritsu. Feel like we're due for some good luck. Yeah, that'd be nice. If he could just come in and just start kicking ass, that'd be awesome. Imagine like I'm just hoping for a 2020 season from him, guys, or a 15-25, whatever it is. 40 points would be massive. There's people talking about like crazy. I've heard some crazy predictions. I mean, I think 40 points would be great out of him, even if it's like, 15 and 20 or 20 and 15, 35 points in a bottom six role would be great. But listen, obviously, I would love to see him play top 6 minutes and get 70 points. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? That would be story of the season for the Devils. Gritsu hitting the gym this offseason. Some of you guys are so negative. Fitz gets everyone to no move. What's in a few more years of tanking, we would have been good in 2027. Oh, man. Michael, I'm hoping that Shane LeChance can make the jump, the 4C. That would be outstanding. I'm going to have a whole video coming out on him. I'm definitely rooting for him. I like his game. I think he could bring an element that we're missing. But he's definitely one of the guys I'm going to have my eye on real close in training camp and preseason. Snow, hi. Is considering his size and our defensive depth, could it make sense to use Casey as a forward? Could that make sense? I can't see it happening. I just, the guy's played however many years of hockey, organized hockey now as a defenseman. I mean, I just can't see it. Someone suggested this on another platform a while ago. I just can't see it at all, personally. But speaking of Casey, is that a guy with our current defensive depth? I mean, at what point do we consider trading him? I mean, a lot of people were saying, him and Nemitz, going back to even last year, do we cash one of them in for forward help? We obviously have a ton of defensemen. We need some forwards. Does it make sense to trade some defensive pieces out to bring in the forwards? And obviously, a lot of people wanted to see that happen. Very curious to see how this plays out with Casey, because it certainly seems like his path to the Devils NHL lineup anyway at the moment is a little bit blocked. And how long does he want to continue to play in Utica for? It'd be very interesting to see if that becomes a thing. Brandon says, for some reason, after those Nemitz photos, I gained so much respect for him. Brandon, for some reason. The photos are the reason, Brandon. Not only did he put the photos up, they're impressive photos. The photos are the reason. I gained a lot of respect for him, too. Heavier, edgier, more violent. This kid's putting in the work. And it shows. He looks monstrous. What's up, Chad? Just locked in my season opener tickets down here in North Carolina for Canes Devs. All the new Canes fans are insufferable down here, but glad to see Puck finally get some hype down here. Oh, man. Yeah, that's going to be... And the Devils' record in the past long time in Carolina is absolutely abysmal. One of my buddy's brothers lives down there, and I think I forget the exact stat, but it was something like over the past decade, he's been to like 15 games or something, and I think the Devils are like 2-13 in Carolina in that time span of the games he went to, which had to be a good percentage of them. But it's been a house of horrors for sure. Justin, need Jack Hughes to the playoffs? Absolutely, we do. Brendan, Ace, in your opinion, has this been the most boring offseason of all time / recent memory league-wide? Absolutely. There was not much in terms of unrestricted free agent signings, not much, a lot of the big names re-signed with their teams before free agency opened. And then I think there hasn't been a trade in the league in like 5 weeks or something crazy. I mean, there's been nothing going on. Super, super slow, boring offseason. David, Hockey News predicts us third. Near sure make playoffs, but doubt us as a legit contender. Exactly what many of us think. Yeah, and the sad part is if a couple things go our way and we could add a player or two, I think we could be a legit contender. But obviously the first thing that needs to happen before any of this could happen is staying healthy. Without all of our top guns staying relatively healthy, it's a wrap. unfortunately. But if they are healthy with a key ad or two, I do think this team could be a legit contender. Stick Figs, Run of the Devils, what's your favorite Boardwalk Fries spot in all of Jersey? Oof. My favorite Boardwalk Fries spot in all of Jersey is Chippy's, I think. Chippy's in Point Pleasant. Let me see if there's a... Yep, there it is. Chippy's. Is there a picture on here? Of course there is. Yeah, Chippy's. These are my favorite shore fries. Link in description. Shout out to Chippy's. I had some chippy fries a couple weeks ago at my boy Vince. Phenomenal stuff. Snow says LeChance is a fourth liner at best. Okay, listen. Are you against finding the next good to great fourth liner for the New Jersey Devils? I'm certainly not. I would love a top six guy, but listen, give me some great bottom six pieces too. What's an epic dooming incoming, I'm afraid. Oh, boy. Jason says Nemitz looking like a grown man. Gary, hey, Ace, quick question. What happens if Luke Hughes not signed? Keep Casey. I mean, I just can't see any world where Luke Hughes actually holds out. I mean, I just can't see it. That would be catastrophic. I don't think that happens. But who knows? I mean, if in some world where Luke's not playing on opening night, that'd be wild. Kovacevic out with injury. Nemitz going to be playing big. I mean, yeah. A D core that had Casey, Nemitz, and Luke Hughes all in it. It's a scary proposition. Or Luke, with Luke being out, even Casey. Then you go Casey, Nemitz, Dilly, Hamilton, Pesci. Siegs, and who else is on the depth chart? Yeah, I just can't see any world where Luke is not in opening night. I mean, that would just be crazy. Bobby, I'm beyond excited for Gritsuk this year. This team needs some Russian gas. Will the next third jersey be better or worse than the Jersey jerseys? Oh, we're going to the next surf side. This one is it's from the variety pack. This one is the peach tea. This one might be my favorite one. Peach tea and vodka, Surfside. Delicious. Get them at your local liquor store. Zach, I'm going to say the next jersey is better. I don't really like the Jersey jerseys. I hated them when they first came out. They grew on me a little bit, but in the end, I don't really like them. Brandon, how can Nemitz make such a massive offseason difference when Hughes brothers look the exact same since they entered the league? Well, I mean, if you saw the photos, Brandon, you see how. You saw all the exercises and things that Nemitz was doing, and that's how you get monstrous, by doing all that all summer long. And I'm sure it's what he was doing, probably training with a chip on his shoulder. Would love to see him have a career year. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have a long career to this point, and so it'd be very easy for him to have a career year. But hopefully it's a year where everyone's just like, okay, this kid is completely legit. There's no more question marks really surrounding him. He is the guy that we thought we were getting when we drafted him. And hopefully he is that guy. I think he will be. But looking beastly in those off-season photos. Doug, I will say, I don't know what Fitz is going to do once we're fully healthy on the blue line. If Nemitz proves himself, I really don't see how you could take him out of the lineup. Yeah, Doug, and he could be looking to repay Kovacevic for essentially stealing his job last season. It's kind of a reversal of roles here. But that will be an interesting thing to monitor, obviously. What do they do when Kovacevic returns? Justin Smith says Connor Brown 10 goals this year. It'd be nice if he could get more, but I mean, the bar is so low from last season, what we got from the bottom 6. I mean, 10 goals. It's hard for me to get excited about it, but when you look at some of the bottom 6 numbers from last year, you're like, all right, well, 10 goals is a pretty substantial improvement. Zach says, nah, bro, best place for boardwalk fries is the place directly across from the Hard Rock that also sells funnel cake. Are you talking about in Atlantic City? Pete, the Schmeat 3, Luke asking for 5 years shows that he and Jack don't have faith in Fitz to win a cup. Again, I think that could be part of it, but I don't know. A lot of people are like, oh, this means they want to leave in 5 years. I'm like, no, it doesn't mean they definitely want to leave. I think a lot depends on what happens between then and now. But the reality is they want the option to be able to leave in 5 years if shit goes sideways. Doesn't mean they're definitely going to leave, not by any stretch. No, it doesn't mean in 5 years we're leaving. A lot of people took it like that. I was not one of them. That's maniacal. It was they want the option to be able to leave in 5 years if they don't see, their futures there. Traveling Devil says, I watched a video of Seaside on YouTube and it was chaos in the streets. Shout out to Seaside Heights, New Jersey. For those that might not be familiar, home of the Jersey Shore, the MTV show from, that was probably 15, 18 years ago now? 15 years ago? I don't even know. Wild. Pro Bowl. Yep, we got Anton Salayev in the D-Corps in the future for sure. He's planning on playing in North America next year, so that's another defenseman kind of layered on there, kind of circling back to the, do you trade Casey thing? Doug says, no, Luke wanting 5 years means he doesn't want to get ripped off like Jack did with his 8x8 contract. The manager flat out said he doesn't want that to happen again. I will say, in defense of that, how can you be mad for that? I said this in the video a couple weeks ago. Jack did not deserve $8 million a year when we gave him that contract. He absolutely did not. I think he had 50 points or something? Let me see. The season before? I talked about this in the video. He wasn't worth that money then. It was a gamble by the organization that paid off. How are you going to fault the team for giving him money before he deserved it and now them reaping the rewards of it later on in the contract? It is crazy that these people some of these guys and their agents just get super greedy. Justin says, would love to see red and green jersey return for a couple games. I like the heritage one. The white with the green was nice. The fully green reverse retro from years ago was a super sick one. Michael S. if LeChance could jump to center on the fourth line, chef kiss. Yeah, I'm rooting for it. I would love to see it. I think he could bring some of that heavier, edgier, more violent for sure. I think he could definitely bring that. Traveling next third jersey should be something close or the actual Stadium Series jersey. I don't think they could use it again contractually. I forget with the rules and all the crap, but I would love to see a direct inverse of it. Just flip the colors. A black jersey with the red Devils logo with no circle around it would be absolute fire. Fire. And you guys all know the old school black jersey that I've showed a bunch of times with the stripe on the bottom. It's just perfection. That should have been a jersey forever. Gary says Nemitz will be Adam Larson. Larson went on to have a decent career. Listen, I hope he's better than Larson, obviously. Super chat, my man, Joe Cade. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated on this fine, was it Tuesday evening? You guys are talking jerseys a lot here. Let's see. Max, what's going on, my man? Hi, Ace. Hope the summer is great. See y'all crazy people soon. What's up, Max? Ted, Fitz cannot give 5-year contract to Luke Hughes. Clearly, Luke wants out of New Jersey. Again, I do not talk in such speculative absolutes. I don't think by any stretch him wanting his contract to end, to coincide with Jack's means that, they definitely want to leave. No, that's very conspiratorial in my opinion. It just gives them the option. People like options. They want the option that, hey, in 5 years, if this doesn't feel right, doesn't look good, doesn't look promising for us to win a cup here, we're out. It doesn't mean they definitely will be out, but it means they have the right to be out. And I cannot blame them for that. Again, why would you want to be locked in a place that you are not sure you're going to win a championship in? If you want to win a cup, you want to see what cup winning teams do. And that's get aggressive in free agency, trade first round picks and futures for win now pieces, because players want to win now, guys. They're not, hoping that your team you're building is going to be a cup winner in 10 years from now. They want to win now. Jason, we need to improve badly. 5-on-5, 27th in the league is unacceptable. Absolutely. Absolutely. And our special teams last year were very good. The power play in the beginning of the season, I think, was like some ridiculous rate early on, and then it tapered off a bunch, but they were still, I think, in the top, 5 or so league-wide in power play. Michael, do you think we trade Dawes before opening night or carry 3 goalies? I'm very interested in this. I do think Fitz has some PTSD surrounding the whole goaltending position. And so I think it is possible that he carries through. When you have 2 old goalies, you're talking about with Markey and Allen, if we don't have Dawes, if we either lose him in a trade or he gets claimed on waivers, if we don't have Dawes in the organization, and then you're going into the season, obviously, with Markey and Allen, the next man up is Jakob Malik, who will be playing for Utica. I believe he'll probably get the starting job, or at least get a good split of the starts. But more than likely, you're talking about if Markey or Allen go down, that Jakob Malik could be thrust into a tandem NHL position without having any NHL experience. And while Dawes doesn't have a ton of NHL experience, he's got a fair amount. And I think he's shown promises at the NHL level. Last year, in a very small sample size, his numbers were phenomenal. The defense was great. I really do believe, and that's the one thing, guys, I do like our defense so much that I do believe almost any NHL average goaltender has a chance to put up a decent amount of wins behind this Devils defense. I really do. Doug says Jack getting recognition for the best contract has helped us, but now it's hurting us with signing Luke. Their manager flat out does not want Luke to get undervalued like Jack did. I just think it's all kind of greed and stuff. I mean, I understand you don't want to be on the list, but come on, he got paid early. Jason knows that Seaside has completely changed. All the old bars and clubs are gone. It's definitely been kind of changing over the years. Gary says we need to sign Nico long-term. Yeah, that's the goal. Hopefully that's what happens. I have my reservations on that as well. I've talked about that in depth. A lot of people think that it's just a foregone conclusion that he signs here. I don't. I hope he does. But he's a guy that wants to win a cup too, and players see exactly what's going on. Players are not foolish. Bobby, who would you sacrifice for McTavish? This team needs another Swiss Army knife. For McTavish... Well, he hasn't signed, right? So it all depends. What the money would be, because I wouldn't give up a ton to then have to pay him a ton. But I mean, I would trade, whatever. If they want a guy like Casey and something like that. I mean, I love Casey, but I don't think, I just don't think he's going to have a spot on this team anytime soon. There's just a lot of guys in front of him. Jeter says, when Jack plays a full 82 in multiple playoff rounds, then tell me it's a steal. I mean, that's the one thing that people keep going to, and there's no rebuttal for it. I hope this is our year. This is the year for Jack, I think. I forget, one of the coaches or somebody was quoted recently saying he's had both shoulders repaired now, and usually after that happens, they're kind of stronger, and so both shoulders have been rebuilt to some extent. Hopefully this is it. This is a big season. Hopefully we get 82 games out of him. Hopefully a new franchise single-season points record. He broke Patty Eliash's record and got 99 points in that magical 22-23 season. Would love to see him get over 100 this year. Would love to see Bratter also eclipse 100. Getting 100-point seasons out of both of those guys are close enough to it would be massive in terms of this team doing some damage. Stick Figs, I hate losing Dougie or Timo prematurely, but I could live with it. If Nico Bratt, Jack, or Luke left, I'd be devastated with no recovery. I can't see Timo. I mean, maybe towards the end of the deal, but no time soon. Our only bull in the top 6. What are you guys trying to do to me? Wow, Pro Bolt says Mercer and Casey. I think that's a little steep. Any reverse retro 2.0 lovers? I like it. I don't love it. I like reverse retro 1.0, the green one, definitely better. Ted says should have kept the stripe. I dislike that the stripe is missing. I love the stripe. Amagi, what's going on? Take that reverse Stadium Series jersey idea and make it a blackout jersey like Dallas. Would be extremely sick. There's so many options you could do, but the black jersey needs to be done with the main crest, with the regular Devils logo. Talked about it forever. Pyro, if you replace the jersey logo at front and maybe put a white with red outline Stadium Series logo on it, look nasty. Keep the jersey font stuff for maybe the shoulder. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind as like a secondary logo, like on a small patch or something, or I'd be perfectly fine with them not doing anything with it either. Jason says Timo needs to have that consistent year. Hoping for a big year out of Timo. Would love to see it. I've defended him against the haters forever. Would love a monster season out of Timo. Hopefully he's on the right side on Power Play 1 all year long, and I think Timo time could start much earlier. It typically starts in March, but he really ratchets it up. Hopefully he does it coming out of the gate this season. We need Timo to start potting him early. Pyro Ace, what's your favorite non-Devils jersey? My favorite non-Devils jersey? Favorite non-Devils jersey? Hold on 1 second. All right, favorite non-Devils jersey. I have 2. One would be the Italia, the Nike. This one's sick. This thing's huge. But this one would be on there. And then another one of my favorites would be from the defunct RHI, baby, the New Jersey Rock and Rollers. You got the notes on the bottom. Those are probably 2 of my. And then obviously I have a bunch of Team USA jerseys, but I figured that would go without saying. I'll be back 1 second. Those are my favorite non-Devils jerseys. Matt, bring back the bottom stripes in our jerseys. Also bring back the home whites and road reds. I'd be on board with both of those. The stripe at the bottom of the jersey, no brainer. And I do like white home. Doug, you start winning and going on deep runs and things will drastically change. Completely agree. Winning cures all. Go on deep runs. Free agents will want to come here. Guys will want to stay here. Winning fixes everything. The ultimate cure-all. Win and go deep, and guys will want to be here. Look at Florida. Justin Smith, Timo on Jack's line this year. I don't think so. They've tried it so many times, and it just has never, for whatever reason, it never does what you want it to do. I think Jack and Brat are kind of a duo, and I think Nico and Timo are going to be a duo. Jason, the power play carried us early in the year. That's why a lot of our problems were covered up. Bobby Cotter needs to be on the PB&J line. Yeah, I think he got like a couple half shifts with them. I think it was when Bratter was in the penalty box. Maybe there was a couple. I forget the scenario that they constantly put Cotter out there, but he never got like. I would like to see him get it for a game. I do think, for whatever they don't trust him, I guess, full time with them. But that's asking a lot. He's ideally a really good fourth line player. I think he definitely could probably play on the third as well, but to make him play top line. But again, if no one else seizes the opportunity and we see Palat there again all year, give Cotter a game or two to see if it could work, if he gets a little more time. Traveling says, I don't see how Jack is underpaid. He doesn't make it to the end of the season. Yeah, I mean, I get all the people that are saying that stuff, but the production you get while he's healthy is kind of what they're going off of. Bobby says, Jack's breaking 100 points and getting 50-plus goals this year. Oh, man, I'd love to see it. That'd be phenomenal. Ted saying Jack for the Hart Trophy this year. Would love it. David McTavish is a top 6 center who may well grow into a star. What planet are people on thinking the Ducks will trade him, or we could fit him cap-wise once he executed an extension? Yeah, that's the thing for me, David. Like, he's going to want ridiculous money, so I think that's a pipe dream. Earlier in the summer, I was talking about a lot of guys like Kyrou, who had a lot of years left on their deal at super friendly cap numbers. Guys that aren't under contract now, again, yeah, I love McTavish too, but yeah, like you said, David, he's going to want crazy money, and that's why it's just doesn't seem remotely realistic. Excuse me. Zom Booze. Jack needs to have a strong year and healthy year, especially now his brother put some doubt with the fans about staying with the team. Greg, if Luke is dead set on 5 years, do you think there's a possibility of much lower per year, like 6 times 5? Oh, man. At this point, it wouldn't even matter. I'd be disgusted. I don't think so, though. I still think he'd want more than that even for 5 years. I mean, Justin says, I see fans losing patience with Fitz if the Devils struggle at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I mean, it's already happened with a bunch of people. There are certain people who have, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, delusionally praised him nonstop forever. And those people, will never deviate. I think there's the people that give him no credit ever. And I'm not one of those people. Like I said, he's done a lot that I've liked, but the inactivity during the season, and then again with the goalies in 23-24, like really lost favor with me. But his offseason after 23-24 was awesome. But then we saw 2 terrible deadlines, and you got to try to win now. And that's done in the season as well. Sprong and Glass on deadline day aren't going to do it. And so, I think a lot of people were expecting big moves this summer. I was not one of them, but I think a lot of people were. And now that they didn't happen, I think a lot of the Fitz supporters that were still left are kind of slowly leaving because of a fairly underwhelming summer. Pro Bowl says I'm done with Fitz as well. Jesse, favorite non-Devils jersey is a Griswold Blackhawks jersey that I wear at Christmas. Best Christmas movie outside of A Christmas Story. Man, it's definitely a good one. Definitely a good one. Would you give Luke up for Quinn? I mean, they're not going to do, these are all, well, there's no point even talking about this. This is not remotely realistic. Yeah. Zach says, Cotter getting 25 goals this year, book it. Oh, that would be story of the year. Pyro, I'd love to see Cotter get hot again. Missed the Hall of Cotter Nason line when it sparked. They had some moments. Mr. White, the greatest trick the Devil ever pulled was convincing the fans they were legit after the 22-23 season. Oh, Mr. White. I was a believer. I thought that was the turning point. And it should have been. It really should have been. But here we are. Michael, my neighbor is the coach of Princeton's men's ice hockey team. He's now the coach of Italy's Olympic team. That's pretty awesome. They're gonna be the host country in 5 months. David, Cotter and Mercer are very weak playmakers. That's all that keeps them out of the top 6. That changes dramatically. Either of these guys could take Palat's spot. Ava78, what do your line combos look like to start? I'm thinking something like this. Nico, Timo, Nason, Jack, Bratt, Brown, Mercer, Palat, Cotter, Glass, Dodonov, Gritsuk. I'm going to have a video about this and so much more in the upcoming weeks. Ryan says, have you talked about this BS internal cap the Devils are going to have? I briefly mentioned it when I went over the article that first mentioned it. I think the Devils' internal cap is going to be the cap max. I think they're going to be a cap team. I don't think the owners, again, while they won't spend LTIR money, and that's infuriating to myself and many others, I think they will be a cap team for pretty much forever. So as long as you're spending to the cap, the only thing more you could ask for is to spend the LTIR money. But that loophole's closed now anyway. And so I do believe this is the last year that the loophole will exist. And it's a shame that we did not try to weaponize it when we had the opportunity to do so last year and the year before. But last year was an insane amount of money. I want to say it was like $13 million or so, 12 million, whatever it was. It was Dougie and Luke's money. Stick figs, too many casual fans at the games to be noteworthy enough for the Devils execs to care when considering Fitz's time in NJ. Probably true. Pyro, Ace, don't you have some Italian roots? Yes, I do. Colby, Panthers are going to beat the Wild in the finals to win their third straight. That would be crazy. Zach, I was at the Volbeat concert on August 9th, and we got a Let's Go Devils chant going. All we need is Volbeat to perform a second intermission intro, and the cup is ours. I'm old, but I have no idea what Volbeat is. I really don't. Pro Bowl, I predict the Panthers beating the Avalanche. That'd be something. That'd be a rematch of the 1996 Cup Finals, which the Avalanche won. Claude Lemieux was part of that team. A year after winning the Conn Smythe and the Stanley Cup with the Devils, the 95 Stanley Cup Finals, he goes to the Avs that summer and then wins the Cup with them in 96. Wild, wild stuff. Bobby, here's my final hot take. Markey is the first Devils goalie since Marty to pocket 40 wins. Oh, man. That would be phenomenal. That'd be phenomenal. But 40 wins, I would love to see it happen with the way they do this, load management type stuff and don't really let many goalies play tons of games. I just think it's going to be hard for Markey to hit 40 because I think he'd have to start a lot. Yeah, that's asking for a lot. I would love to see him hit 40 wins. Don't get me wrong, but he would have to get a ton of starts, and I don't think they're going to give him that many. But I'd love to see it. That'd be amazing. Stick Figs running with the Devils. How's Mama Ace and the nephew? Mama Ace and the nephews are doing good. Thanks for asking. Well, I spent a lot of time with both Mama Ace and the nephews this summer. Oh, man. Oilers lose to Panthers third straight year. SJ, that's diabolical. That would be quite a plot line. If the Devils aren't in it, I probably would be rooting for Florida. I mean, it's just hard for me not to completely respect what they've done there in short time. Traveling Jack and Pesci win gold in the Cup this year. Oh, would love to see Pesci make the Team USA Olympic squad. I don't know how likely it is, but I would love to see it, and I'd love to see them win gold. Jay Snow, we need to win at least 2 rounds this year to be a success. What do you think? Yeah, Eastern Conference Finals are bust. Anything short of the Eastern Conference Finals, to me, is a failure. Obviously, anything other than winning the Cup is a true failure, but making the Conference Finals would be nice. Zach says, got to look him up, Ace. Premier Hockey Hype Music. I'll definitely check him out. Bobby said, I'd love to see a Devils Dallas Cup. That'd be nice. 26 years later, the rematch from 2000. Pro Bowl, not to mention Claude sparked the Avs Red Wings rivalry when he hit Chris Draper on the path to the Cup final in 96. For those that haven't seen it, I forget the name of it. There's a 40 for 40 ESPN on that rivalry. I think it was a 40 for 40, or maybe it was another series similar. But there's a documentary. Let me just look it up now. I'll send it to you guys. Unrivaled. Okay, yeah, it's on ESPN, Unrivaled. I'll drop a link in the chat. I think it'll you could look into it. It's not a link to the direct video, but it's to the special. Pyro Devils Avalanche rematch need revenge. Oh, I would love that. 2001, one of the worst series losses of my career, my Devils fandom career. Jason, no, I don't like letting go Dawes. If one of our goaltenders get hurt, we don't have anyone with NHL experience. And I think that's the reason why Fitz is probably going to try to keep him, even if it means carrying 3. Traveling wants a Devils Kings rematch. I'd like revenge on them too. Stickfig, screw it. Devils and Ducks run it back for this another rematch. Stanley Cup Finals, McDermott, Truxton, Trouba, and Kreider to open up the game winner and bring the 4th cup to New Jersey. That would be quite the plot twist. Pyro, I like Florida. They have shades of 90s Devils, so I'm happy to see them winning. Yeah, I totally see that. Florida definitely reminds me of some of the Devils dynasty year teams. A little bit of everything, but more so than not, tons of guys willing to pay the price because they got a lot of that scrit all over the place. SJ says Panther GM is goated. Yeah, Bill Zito definitely goated. Legendary stuff he's accomplished. Traveling, I don't want to go to my grave without revenge on the Kings. I would love revenge on them too, but I think revenge on the Avs would be sweeter. But the Kings are definitely up there for me too. David, Claude Lemieux, definitely top 5 favorite all-time Devil. Number 22, baby. Claude is a legend. Absolute legend. Oh, you don't know me. Would love to see Bratt flirt with 100 points this season. He's got the skills to do it. And especially, I've talked about this before, a lot of his production will be tied to Jack. And if Jack can stay healthy, that only helps Bratter rack up even more points. 100 points from both of them would be sick. Jay Snow, Kobe coming back from that knee injury concerns me. We need him in the lineup. He's a big body, and we don't have a lot of it. Yeah, I love Kovacevic. I think he's going to be a big part of the team for the future. And they're going to be in a kind of predicament when he's ready to come back. We will see, in terms of a spot for him on the D and cap compliance, we're going to be over, assuming, I don't see how we wouldn't be. It's all going to depend on what Luke signs for, but we should be over the cap for sure. Ryder, Ace, you skipped me over, all good, but did you see the league dropping a bombshell over the CBA changes? If not, you have to look at it. I was reading some stuff about that earlier. But guys, even if they're waiting for all this stuff to go into effect, you're still risking injury and blowing guaranteed money when you can get it. I don't know. But some of these guys are all about the money. Who knows? SJ, would love to see the Devils beat the Avs in the finals. Revenge? Yeah, I would too. I was at Game 6 where the Cup was in the building. Devils up 3-2. They blow it, and then they go to Denver and blow the series, losing 7. Horrible. I will hate Ray Bork forever. Gary, any chance to get Toffoli back? No, definitely not. That ship has sailed, my friend, but I'll never forget Tyler. Doug, watch the Oilers make their 3rd straight cup and lose. Man. Justin, 2012, the Kings were the better team. Quick was outstanding that entire postseason. Yes, he was. Quick, man. If the Devils could have just won one of those first 2 games at home, I do think that whole series could have been different. But Doug, imagine Devils beat the Canes in the playoffs, then get revenge on the Kings or Avs in the finals. That would certainly be a revenge tour postseason. I would love to see that. Knocking out the, we'll just throw the Rangers in there for good measure too. A year where we knock out the Canes, Rangers, and then the Kings or Avs in the finals. Would be great. Pyro says, if no rematch, I'd dig a Devils Calgary Stanley Cup Finals. Listen, guys, I wouldn't complain about. I would love the Devils to be in the finals against anyone. Now, if we're going to be super selfish and live in a fantasy world, I would hope that it was against the city that was like a team that's in a city that's kind of easy to get to. Devils Calgary is probably one of the worst ones travel wise. I guess probably, Vancouver and Edmonton would be up there too. Yeah, I certainly would hope that it was against the team in the States, which would definitely make it a bit easier. But a Devils Stars would be nice. That's a nice travel. Kobe, Quick's run unfortunately overshadows how elite 40-year-old Marty was that year. Man, that would have been so nice for Marty towards the end of his career to just get a cup out of nowhere. Jason, no, we don't have any info on Kobe's knee, which is concerning. He's going to miss a bunch of time. I mean, we know that they've been saying that for a while, that he's not going to be ready to start the season. And so no one really knows. Maybe he comes back in November. Maybe it's December. Maybe it's January. Maybe it's February. Who the hell knows? One thing is certain, we're always going to get kind of vague injury updates. Pro Bowl says the most likely Cup final matchup to me is Panthers-Avalanche. That'd be interesting. A 1996 rematch. Colby, the West will be a surprise. David, Devils over Kings rematch would make me the happiest. The Avalanche would be sweeter to me, but I'd be very happy to beat the Kings in the finals too. Traveling Devils, Oilers of the Buffalo Bills, the NHL. Doug, I think an interesting storyline this season outside the Devils will be the Leafs without Marner and Vegas with him. I wonder how good him and Eichel will be. I expect them to be pretty damn good. I think Vegas is going to be one of those teams that's kind of in the mix every year for a while. They're going for it. They got Marner. He leaves Toronto, and wow. Should be a very good Knights team. I would love a Devils Knights would be a great, obviously, Cup final as well. Vegas, none of the boys are going to have to really sell me on traveling to Vegas. Or I should say, I guess it's an easier sell for me. I'm always the one pushing these trips. A Devils Golden Knights Cup final would be a phenomenal trip or trips to go see the Devils in the Cup finals. Let's come back to reality, guys. We're planning fictitious Cup finals trips to Vegas. Bobby, Dawes has to clear waivers to stay on the team. He definitely doesn't clear waivers, and he will end up on Edmonton. I don't think they would put him on waivers. I feel like if they knew they had to put him on waivers, then they would trade him before that. Jason says, I think Kobe's out to Olympics. That'd be wild. Wild. Gary, what do you think about Eichel not signed yet? Will he be with Jack at Team USA? Anyone not signed right now, I believe, will be signed before camp. This is all just posturing and the art of negotiating in 2025. Justin Smith, Devils Golden Knights Stanley Cup final. Would love it. Would love it. SJ, the Allen deal is good value, but that Allen deal is good value, but would suck to lose Dawes. Completely agree. Shout out again to Jake Allen. Can't say it enough. What an absolute legend signing that deal. 5 years, $1.8 million. No one saw that coming. Supposedly teams are going to offer him $4 or $5 million a year for a couple of years. And he chose to stay with the Devils and keep his family in New Jersey at a much less of a cap hit than anyone ever saw coming. Pyro, Devils, Chicago final, say 29 or 30. United versus Continental, that'd go pretty toasty. I guess he's talking about the arenas maybe. Continental's the old one, though. It'd be United versus Prudential. Stick Figs, hopefully with Nova back, we get more answers to the questions we need throughout the season. Yeah, I mean, the exchange with Lindy Ruff will forever go down in infamy. I mean, wow, what a legendary exchange. Doug, Devil Sharks 2035 final. Oh, my God. Big Mike Yegorov wins the Hart, Vezina, and Conn Smythe. I would take it, but I don't know what guys on this team now would still be around then in 10 years from now. I'd imagine maybe the Hughes and hopefully Nico, hopefully Bratter, hopefully all of them, really. But a lot of the other guys would not be. Michael, sounds like the Hughes brothers are not all in on NJ. I'm pissed because, Jack knows what his bro is doing. Yeah, they're trying to get leverage and power. I don't blame them. I would want that too. SJ, the Canes are a giant obstacle. Will they ever beat the Canes? I certainly hope so. I hate the Canes. This is my second most hated team, only behind the Rangers. And there's no team that could ever surpass the Rangers for me and their fans that I would ever hate, just because, the history between the two teams. I grew up with more Rangers fans in my school than Devils fans. And they were just super obnoxious always. And then again, obviously the long history on the ice between the two teams. But the Canes are a close number two. Husky, what if we brought back Arnott? What if we brought Arnott back and reunited the A-line in 2012? Man, only if. Stickfig, shout out to all of our AHLers, ECHLers, and prospects that have to wade through the nightmare that must be the Devils goalie pipeline. Oh, yeah. It's a little murky right now. We got a lot of guys looking to eventually crack the lineup, but very curious to see if and when I just lost my train of thought. If and when Markey's extended, if the Devils plan on having Markstrom here beyond this season. I don't see why they wouldn't, assuming he looks good this year. But, Doug, I don't want to look that far into the future. It's not hard to not want to see Yegorov take over as the next franchise guy. He's going to be. But let's win now before that. Let's win now and with Yegorov. Justin says, in fairness to Luke Hughes, he never said he wanted to leave the Devils. I've been saying this forever. People that are like crucifying him, I've defended him nonstop. If I was Luke Hughes, I would try the same exact thing. I would be like, I want a 5-year deal. Why wouldn't you? Why anyone here would do the same thing? So I cannot be a hypocrite and chastise professional athletes for negotiation tactics that I myself would do exactly. If you're being honest with yourself, you would do exactly what Luke Hughes is doing right now. You would. You absolutely would. And so for anyone talking smack on him, shame on you. Now, Fitz doesn't have to cave to it, and he absolutely shouldn't because it's psychotic if he does. But I am not going to begrudge Luke Hughes whatsoever for trying it because I would do the exact same thing, and anyone with a brain would. Damien, what's up? Hey, Ace, how you been? Got so much to tell you, but I'll keep it short one at a time since we talking Cup final. Chat GPT as the Devils winning in 2027. I would sign up for that. Sign me up all day, every day. Would love to see it. Brandon, I hate Toronto way more than the Canes. We still haven't beat Toronto in the regular season in a very long time. Yeah, but in the end, we've owned them in the playoffs. Like, there's no real, I guess the biggest, like, ill will animosity thing would be stemming back to the playoffs forever ago in the old guard when Ty Domi cheap shotted Scott Niedermayer in the grill with an elbow and knocked him out. I mean, that was crazy. But outside of that, those Devils teams own the Leafs in the playoffs forever. We really owned them. Curtis Joseph probably has nightmares of Patty Eliash and co. Nightly because there are some good Leafs teams in the early 2000s that could have possibly made a run if they didn't run into the Devils along the way. Damien, if you're lucky, 2028 when when Quinn potentially comes on the team and funny enough against the Oilers. Always hate the Canes ever since 2009. Bobby says if Fitz caves and gives Luke the 5-year deal, he should be fired effective immediately, and Claude should be hired as replacement. Claude probably doesn't want any part of the GM life. I think he has a much better setup probably as an agent. It's not nearly as intensive. Michael, does Fitz hold out then and risk Hughes missing games to the start of the season? I can't see this coming to a holdout. If it does, I'll be beside myself. Seattle has an NHL team, just need Atlanta back, and we have airline wars. Damien, I did say Luke was being forced into a deal, hence why I'm with him on this one. Fitz is not doing him any favors. I mean, listen, it's business, but sometimes it just gets wild. David, if he wanted to leave, his term offer would be less than 5 years. When he gets arbitration rights is when he has enough leverage to close to automatically get traded. They just need to sign him for 8 years. Just sign him for 8 years. Brandon, it's pretty weird how this current roster just can't beat the Canes in Toronto, but we can beat Florida, no problem. I mean, there was 2 games in November. I mean, they really dialed it up in the playoffs. I can't put too much stock into the November games. Was I happy we beat them twice in their arena? Absolutely. That was great. But in the end, that's November. Do it in April and May. And you get a different Panthers team in April and May. Michael, I don't even think Luke is behind the 5-year thing. It sounds like a ploy by his agent to get more money on the 8-year deal to me. It very well could be. A lot of these things are all posturing. You never know the true motive. Everything is part of a larger calculated chess match. We don't have money for 8 years. I mean, why don't we have money for 8 years? They could certainly sign him for 8 years. Assuming it's, well, no matter what it is, even if it was $10 million, they're going to have to make a move to be cap compliant when Kovacevic comes back from LTIR, or before that. If they don't do that, I mean, at this point, Jason, I think that's the only move, unless Fitz is waiting on the secret Palat deal he has in place. I don't see where else the money's going to come from. Justin, Devils invite veteran goalie to training camp and then trade Dawes. I mean, I wouldn't be furious at it. If you're not going to carry 3 goalies, you can't lose them for nothing. Stickfigs, I do not want to see the Leafs win a cup until 2068, where we can officially say a century of failure. Oh boy, that's a century of failure is certainly something. Brandon, the Devils start of the season is going to be brutal. The amount of dooming is going to be nuts in here. Oh, I hope not. I'm not ready for that. I want positivity, good vibes. Strong start to the season with a brutal schedule in place. An unforgiving month of October. Yeah, we got $6 million, but they'll figure it out, Snow. One way or another. Someone's got to go. Oh, you don't know me. 25-26 predictions. Jack, 35 goals and 59 assists, which would be a 94-point season. Nico, 40 goals and 40 assists for 80. And then he's got Bratter, 32 goals and 66 assists for 98 points. All right, guys, I'm taking a bathroom break. Back in 2 minutes. We'll wrap this thing up. The long off-season continues. We are getting much closer. That prospects challenge is in a little over a week. There's things happening. I want to see a lineup for that. But anything you got to close this thing out, I'll start winding it down. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, whatever you have, just throw it out there. I'll be right back. I will be right back. All right. David says, just pray we don't win all our preseason games again this year. Yeah. The kiss of death. Strong start to the season will be great. Doug, I feel like certain franchises can't beat their curses, like the Leafs are straight up cursed. They might be. Oh my, you guys are chatty. Oh my God, I can't scroll quick enough. Hopefully we aren't one of those cursed teams. Stickfigs, is the run of the Devils tailgate happening this season? I would love a traditional tailgate. And if there's ever a Stadium Series game, I would certainly, or the the Winter Classic would be even better. I certainly would try to make something happen. I don't know. There's no way to really do it at the arena. It sucks. I've had ideas of being rogue, but I think I get snitched out by one of the haters and we get shut down. I had an idea, but maybe some sort of gathering, but a tailgate, the way I like to tailgate, you need space. You need space that we do not have in Newark. And there might be some town ordinances against open flames or, I don't know, grilling. Brandon, I'm going to be honest. The Devils get destroyed by the good teams early in the season. Our team is clearly not good enough in the first place. Well, I mean, you never know. Early in the season, get some seasonal allergies. You just got to get in the playoffs and then do some damage. Period. Michael, have a good one. Doug, hockey's upon us, ace. Let's go Devils. Let's go. Let's go. Damon says, I'm thinking we could acquire Raymond from Detroit with Palat and a round pick, or Terry with Palat and a round pick. If we need to give up Mercer too, then so be it. I mean, I thought I did think Palat would not be here at this point. I just thought it was like everyone else, it was the most obvious guy to try to get rid of just in terms of salary. I like Palat. If he made half of what he makes, I don't think anyone would be constantly bringing him up, but here we are. He makes $6 million. But I don't, at this point, it seems like getting rid of him is going to be tough. And I don't know that he's going to be a piece included for a guy like Raymond or Terry. I just don't know that that's going to do it. Doug says Raymond is untouchable. Jesse says, I've seen people tailgating the open parking lots with grills and all. Really? I mean, I've done it. I did it in the 2012 playoffs several times, but it was like a tiny grill that I was like hiding. It was kind of stressful. I felt like I was, it wasn't enjoyable. I mean, it was still enjoyable, but not as enjoyable as if like it was completely allowed, like at the old arena. But I'm curious, Jesse, where I guess the parking lot's right near the arena, people are just doing it. I'd be curious to know if the guys that run the parking lots are cool and don't give us shit as long as you stay in your spot, like where your car's occupying. Pyro, Siegenthaler has a breakout season. Injured, Dougie injured, Jack injured, and apparently a lot of teams very banged up but kept playing. Yeah. You can't tailgate snow because our old arena was this wide open, huge parking lots where you were allowed to tailgate. Now in Newark, they're like smaller parking lots and you're not supposed to tailgate. I think they might even have signs that say no tailgating actually, or no whatever. And I guess people do it, but it's not like a widespread sea of tailgaters like you would have seen at the old arena. Detroit fans want to know your location if you can. Oh, man. Jason, no, the grilling is probably hard. Yeah, that's what makes it. Stick Figs, deadline hopes are not enough for me at this point. Outside of a Marchand type move at the deadline, I need to see proactivity throughout the season before the deadline. I would like to see it. Jesse says, it wasn't a 6-burner calm, but it was a travel grill and like 3 cars are all partying together. Had music and booze, but no idea if they eventually were shut down. Yeah. Tailgating, rest in peace. Pour one out for the old tailgates. These things are delicious. Surfside, this one's the peach tea. But all right, guys, that's it. Whoa. I've been to the old arena so many times. The good old days. If Pally could put up 50 points, I'd be happy. I think we'd all be happy with that. I don't know if that's going to happen. All right, but I'll be back soon. A lot of stuff in the works, as always. Always stuff in the works. And that's it. I'll be back. We're a week away-ish. We're an hour and 26 minutes away, technically, from the 3rd. And that would be a week away from rookies reporting to camp. And then on the 10th, or the 10th is rookies. 17th, veterans. We have the Prospects Challenge coming up. Good times. We're about to get back on track here. Hockey season is upon us. Rest in peace, summer 2025. Please hit that like on the way out for your boy. Thank you. I'm going to be back with the morning call-in show at some point soon. And that's it, guys. I'm beaten up. Got some things to do, but this was fun. It's been a while. Good talking to a lot of you. And I'll be back. Lots of stuff heading into camp. Some things I'm excited about. The biggest question marks. Been a lot of videos, so keep your eyes peeled. They'll be coming out fast and furious in the month of September. And that's it, guys. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to go watch some junk television on Netflix or something. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go. Devils.